Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 50 of the New Slang Podcast. I'm Thomas Mooney, and this week, like I told you, or maybe I didn't tell you in the last episode, we were doing 2 episodes this week. If you haven't listened to that first one, it came out on Monday, and that was with Red Shahan, and this one right here is with Cody Canada. Cody was playing up at Charlie B's last Friday, and so of course, he's been one of these guys who I've wanted on the podcast for a while, and I guess it was a couple months ago we were talking. I had interviewed him for an article that came out on Wide Open Country, and I mentioned it then, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do that." And so, Friday afternoon we recorded this in the back of his bus, and it was really, really fun. I think that I probably talked about this before. It's really interesting to see how a lot of these guys, they start out so not necessarily rigid, but they start out a little bit more quiet, and as the conversation goes on, as the more we talk, they open up a little bit more, and it becomes more of a conversation. They start sharing stories and really diving into their opinions, and I feel like that's one of these episodes. He really starts opening up and starts talking about a lot of different things. We talk about the new record they're working on, as well as he tells some stories about the Stillwater music scene of the mid to late 90s, the rise of Ragweed, and stories about Jason Boland and Ray Wiley Hubbard, and a lot of other stuff. We talk about where he sees the Texas Red Dirt, Americana, whatever you want to call it, scene, where that's going, why he's excited about the music that's coming out now, and why he feels it's such a rich and diverse music scene right now. And so a couple of things I wrote this week that are on Wide Open Country that you should check out are, I talked with Pat Green about his tribute record that's actually out today. It's his 46th birthday. That's a really, really great tribute record. The first really tribute record we've seen for, quote, Texas country guys. 10 songs. Has Josh Abbott, John Bauman, William Clark Green, Aaron Watson, a bunch of other guys on it. And it's a really, really great little project. If you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead and check that out. For that little article, I talked with Pat, I talked with Josh, and I talked with John about Pat's impact on them. And it's a really fun little article. And then another piece that came out yesterday, we premiered a song called Always Enough from John Calvin Abney's new record called Coyote. That's coming out, I believe, May 18th. I believe that's the date. It's a really, really cool record. You can really hear John progress as a songwriter. And like I said, the song Always Enough is really, really cool. But the entire record, there's a few songs on there that I really just love. They've not been released yet as far as song premiere stuff. So I'll just kind of let you check them out whenever they are officially released. So I'll go ahead and just end this here. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, go ahead and do so. Go leave us a review on iTunes. If you haven't shared, or if you've not followed us on any of the social media stuff, you can go to Facebook and New Slang. You can follow me on Twitter at _New Slang, as well as Instagram, where I always post a whole lot of stuff about stuff that's pertains to the podcast, or new music, or stuff I've written. So you can go ahead and check out all that stuff. Here's this conversation with Cody Canada.
you guys been working on this new record, right?
Yeah, for almost a year.
Yeah.
Which is the longest I've ever done something like that. Usually we do destination recordings where we go somewhere we've never been, so we're not distracted. But this studio is like right up the road. It's in Dripping Springs, Texas. The zone. So, man, it's 25, 30 minutes through the hill country.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through so many members of this band. And, man, I was just getting tired of restarting. So, I haven't done a record in 3 years because of that. So we just kind of waited around, and then the last member left. We agreed with him. And once that happened, man, we just hopped right in the studio, and it's like, it's time. Now this is the formula. And we knew it because we've all known each other forever.
Mm-hmm.
So we started in June, and just pieced it together, and extremely happy.
Yeah.
Happier than I've been. Excuse me, I got the allergy. Happiest I've been with a record since the Mission California Ragweed thing. Like the one after that, the last record, was a divorce record. You could tell everybody was mad. And it was a good record, but everybody was, you could just tell. And just really haven't found the niche in this band until we simplified it and made it 3-piece.
Yeah. Do you still have like I guess like that nervous energy that you had back when you were first making records? Does that still come up whenever you're recording?
When we first got into the studio for this record, no. Honestly, I wasn't excited at all. I mean, had a next band member just get drunk one night, start sending me texts like, "You can't do this, you can't do that," and I was like, you know what? Just book the dates in the studio. Told my wife, and we got in there, and I was like, "Oh, we're in the studio because this guy made me mad." And then once we recorded like 2 or 3 songs, I looked at my notes and was like, man, we got like 15 tunes. Then I got excited, but it wasn't nervous. It's usually nervous, but I don't know, there was a confidence about this era of whatever we're going through, you know. So
right.
The songs were all happy, and I mean, really, like for the first time, there's only one song on there that's it's Trump-driven anger from my hippie perspective. But the rest of it's all jingly and nice and lovey, and for the first time in a while. That's why I say Mission California, because that's what it feels like. You know, it's happiness.
Yeah.
It's happiness.
You guys did that like in San Diego, right?
We did. Yeah, we did. We did one record we did a garage record in Austin. And we had people stopping by, knocking on the doors, songwriters bringing songs. One songwriter that I really thought he was going to camp out and sleep until we recorded. His song we never did. It wasn't right. I respected the guy, but it just didn't fit. It would have been the sore thumb. But after that, I said, we're out. We're going somewhere where nobody knows us, and which nowadays it's kind of easier that way. We can go a lot of places where nobody knows us.
Yeah, I always love the idea. I think like when you go somewhere else, obviously you're able to get away, you're able to concentrate, but like it also is like a throwback to a lot of the records from the 70s and 60s and
the Pink record, the band. That's Big Pink. That's why we did it. We thought, let's go to a house, let's live in the house, let's write in the house, let's party in the house, let's eat every night, still go out. And that's exactly what we did. You know, we flew what family members we had at the time. Our families were small, and we just all lived there, you know. And in my opinion, it turned out to be one of the best, you know, because you could tell that we were all gelling together. And but that was the whole concept. Let's do what the band did and do what bands from the 70s did and just live the record instead of walking through the door and saying, how long are we going to be here today? Instead of, how long are we going to be here, you know, waiting for the engineer to say, guys, I'm done.
Yeah. I think like those records, just like the stories that come out of those sessions whenever you're staying at a place for a long time. Like if you just look at like Exile on Main Street, right? Like them recording in the south of France in that house or whatever. There's all these party stories of just, you know, and that it's like myth building.
Yeah.
And like that's I think what we love about those old records just as much as the songs.
Yeah. Well, and also, you know, when you I don't know, I just feel like that when you're close to home, in my case, close to home, I have, well, I need to do this when I get home.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in California, you live in South Texas, it's like, well, I mean, I can't sit and worry about it.
Yeah, it's the little things I think that if you're at home get in the way, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like the things like that other people take for granted, like I got to pay bills, or I got to go get groceries.
Yeah.
It's just those little things that start adding up.
Yep, they do. You know, and I don't know, just little, like you're talking about stories. You know, we would get up in the morning and skate down to Ocean Beach, which was a mile. Downhill skate. Downhill. And we would go down there and have a really good California Mexican breakfast. And then somebody would drive the car down, and we'd go to the studio. And then that night we'd maybe go to the local beer joint and have a beer. But mostly, you know, we'd just stay at the house and smoke pot and listen to what we did that day. And one night, Jeremy and I sitting under a lemon tree and got really stoned and ate lemons. Remember that? Remember eating the lemons?
Fuck yeah.
You want a mic? I can hook you up. You sure?
Yeah, I'm about to run out of stove.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's a very pirate thing, right?
Yeah.
Pirates used to have like lemons and oranges just to
well, we got to
keep from
scurvy.
scurvy.
Yeah. It's kind of pirate-ish around here sometimes. But I don't know. I don't know what
y'all are talking about.
it's organic. You know, Jeremy and I were talking about just the organicness of this record. You know, we play the songs. We don't know the songs, but we play them until we hit the right thing. And then we nail it. It's like, oh, that was cool. And then we finish it. And then we forget about it. And then we come back and relearn it, which is what kind of like the Dead used to do. You know, you just you just play it until you get it. And okay, man. And I don't know. I just think it's better that way. There's a couple tunes, you know, that you record because you've been playing them for a year.
Right. Yeah. Are you guys like so in tune with each other now, since you guys have been playing for ever
years?
Do you guys just kind of know what you all are, like what the other one's thinking? Is there kind of a rhythm to it, I guess?
Oh yeah, especially with Jeremy and I. It's so easy. And Waldo, you know, we've known each other for 25 years. This is our second record together as a band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've done several projects with him, but it's just the same Stillwater, Oklahoma mentality, you know. And we just know how as they call it, red dirt. That's what Oklahoma is red dirt music, and I would say Texas red dirt, and it's Texas Oklahoma music is what it is, you know. But we just have that mentality of, I mean, I know that I can move my ass a certain way on stage, and Waldo knows that we're almost done with the song, you know. And in the studio, it's the same thing, you know. We face each other and we record live and get the bass and drums. And then I come back if my part's not right and redo it, but we can just look at each other and like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I can look at Waldo and do this, and that means double time.
Yeah.
It's just simple, man.
You mentioned on this new record there being, you know, a Trump song.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that like people in this scene are apprehensive to write about politics, in fear of pissing people off?
Yeah, of not having a crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have that a little bit. I mean, it doesn't say anything about Trump,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just to a listener that's listening, they'll know. You know, to somebody else, I don't mean somebody else in a negative way, but
Right.
I mean, I've listened to certain songs a billion times throughout my life, and one day go, was a song my kids were listening to the other day, Sabbath True by Metallica, and my kids were singing, chop your breakfast on a mirror. It's like, man, I've been listening to that song for 30 years of my life, and I just know. It's like, hey, don't sing that, don't say that. What's it mean? Nothing, shut up. But I think to certain folks, you know, they won't hear that. But there is a fear. You know, there's times I'll say this song's about this. You know, we played in Colorado, which I thought it would really go over well, this little hippie pot town, and I said, well, this song's about the night Trump was elected, and I don't want to talk too much about it. And this guy goes, then don't, just sing the song. I'm like, well, okay, you know, and it wasn't offensive, but
Yeah.
a few weeks ago I said it in San Marcos. I said, this song's about Trump. This guy goes, Trump. It's like, this is not going to work out for you, dude. The presidency or the song. But there is a fear, you know. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, obviously, there's probably more Trump people in Texas than there are anything else. But, you know, that's the part of doing what we do. Is it as our opinion? I don't believe in getting up on a podium and telling people that they can or cannot eat meat or whatever, you know. Just don't get on a high horse, but it's
Right.
still an opinion.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's my opinion.
That's the thing I always think is the hypocrisy in fan bases sometimes is the you worship a band so much and you put everything they say on a pedestal until they say that one thing, and then it's like,
Then you hate them.
yeah, dismiss everything they've ever
Yeah.
said.
Man, I saw Pearl Jam 2003 maybe in Houston. It was the night after he impaled Bush's head on a mic stand. Supposedly he just set a mask on a
Mm-hmm.
mic stand while he was singing and poured a glass of wine in the mouth hole and it looked like blood. I mean, I get it. I see what people thought, but he wasn't. But then he started kind of ranting, and I found myself booing. It's like I wasn't. I really don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah.
Who should be in office or whatever. But my opinion was at that moment that I didn't want to listen to 10 minutes of him bitching. I wanted to listen to
Right.
the
Yeah.
Pearl Jam, you know. And so that was kind of a turning point for me. It's like, sing about it, but don't talk about it a lot, you know.
No, I hear you.
Because you can lose a fan in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Hey, you can lose a fan over a football team, especially in Lubbock, huh?
Man. Football.
Yeah.
I think like like one of my friends tweeted out one time about I guess like the Oklahoma, Texas music scene is the fan base at least is just primarily how did he put it? Everyone arguing over what if their football team was going to win the Big 12 conference that year, and that's really kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's like you can relate that to these little regional scenes, right? These cities of Stillwater,
Yeah.
Norman, and like they kind of all hold on to their own, you know.
Yeah.
And that goes into music too, because like for some reason, like even arguing about tech online will be, well, I'm arguing about Josh Abbott versus, or you know what I mean, like whoever's from Lubbock.
Yeah.
And it's like, we weren't even really talking about that, but
Well, I mean, when we first started, Lubbock and Amarillo was it for us. I mean, that's been 20 years ago. It's crazy. But we played at the Blue Light, and people were doing the Lubbock Stare, as it's become
right,
to be known, I guess. You've probably heard of it, I'm sure. But
probably guilty of it too. Just
the people standing in the half moon
right,
and just staring at us, and knowing damn good and well they didn't like us because we were from Oklahoma. And I told the crowd one night, I was like, man, this is not about football. It's about music. It's not about being from Oklahoma. I mean, I said it's a river. It's one river. It's like a half a mile separating us. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like we're warring countries. It's music. Shut the fuck up and come up front and have fun. You know,
Yeah.
we're not
Wade.
trying to get you to accept our state.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with it being Oklahoma? Shut the fuck up and listen to music, man. And it worked, you know, and
right.
people listened, and then it took off for us. But
Wade was telling us, I guess he went to Blue Light I guess maybe a month ago, and it was after hours, and he was walking through, telling me and Dustin Six, and about like the first playing there at Blue Light and meeting y'all, and like I guess like the first time seeing y'all, it being really just dead in there, and then like a couple times just dead, and then y'all played some big street show or some big like day festival thing, and it was just the crowd was just singing the songs all of a sudden.
yeah, It took a bit. I remember we played we played 7 or 6 times in Lubbock, and I told my wife, I said, if it doesn't happen this time, we're not going back. I said, I don't know what we can do. I remember playing at the Blue Light one night, and we bought. My wife, she's our manager, and there wasn't a lot of people there, but it was just a risk, and she said, let's buy the whole bar around a Jaeger. I was like, you're the boss, whatever. And everybody's like, yeah, that's cool, thanks. And I remember that night we did a violent film song, and I got up on the piano that was in the corner and like was playing with my feet and kicking it, and I was like, man, we could set ourselves on fire. Nobody gives a shit. And the next time we came back, it was a party, and then we had trays of Jaeger coming. And I don't know. It took a bit, but it's been great. I don't really get to Amarillo that much anymore, but Lubbock's always been good. It's really always been good to us. We went back to the Blue Light a while back, and it was a packed house, and I realized that I'm 40. We need to move to a different venue, I don't know, it's just something weird about playing a college bar.
What about the college bar scenes? Is it it feels like they just there's such a turnover rate every 4 years, right?
That's what it is.
Is it like can towns that are colleges be like breaking into the town again if you don't visit there on a
very much so. Tomorrow night we go to Stephenville, Texas, and not to sound like a cocky asshole, but once upon a time we were the shit in College Station, and now we play Larry Joe's, and like the folks my age and older, and with the exception of a few younger folks, know who Ragweed was. We played Larry Joe's, and I told the boys in the band, I said, let's play nothing but Ragweed. Cool. And nobody budged. Like there's like 26,000 people here or better, and nobody. So then we went into a Departed song, and the crowd started cheering. It's like, what the shit just happened? Like everybody bitching all these years about us not playing Ragweed, but it's just that's on the radio.
Right.
That song at the time was on the radio, and they knew a couple of tunes, but they didn't know every song like they used to. So it's a big difference. You play Lubbock, and Lubbock's, like I said, Lubbock's always been. They stay in touch with our music, with this band. But you play Dallas one night and they know everything, and you go to whatever the closest college town is, and it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Who's this? Oh yeah, you're that one guy.
Yeah. Like you guys we've talked a little bit about Oklahoma, but you guys were from Stillwater, and that scene was such a vibrant aspect of the red dirt scene, right? I guess like what I would say, like some of like the newer band, like there for a minute there was probably like a little bit of a lull there though. Do you see some like rejuvenation in the
from Oklahoma,
from Stillwater
specifically?
specifically?
I go there twice a year, and it not really. I mean, there's my buddy Kale Lester. I'm talking about bands. Like when it comes to songwriters, there's always going to be somebody. Jacob Tovar, he's really great. But I don't know, it's just not as. Let me rephrase all that because that sounded shitty. There are Oklahoma people from Stillwater, Oklahoma people that are still doing it, but once upon a time, it's like we all traveled together and like I would like to do shows with Caitlin Butts, and I'd like to do shows with Jacob Tovar and stuff like that. But I see them when we do Oklahoma benefit shows, or homecomings and stuff like that. And if we go do Calf Ride in Stillwater, it's us and one Oklahoma act and 3 Texas acts. So I don't know. It's the talent's still there for sure, but they're not beating the streets like they used to.
It feels like Tulsa is kind of the more the vibrant scene right now,
and it's good because it was dead for years. It down like our beloved Canes, everybody's favorite in Tulsa. That was the spot for 50 years, and then like the punk scene killed it and disco wiped it out. And then the 80s it was pretty dead, and then the 90s it started coming back, and then we started playing there in the late 90s, and it was dead for 10 years. And then one day we went down there, and there's a Woody Guthrie Park. Then there's the Bank of Oklahoma Center, and with John Prine playing across the street and us playing across from him, and 3 doors down, the Turnpike Boys are playing. You know, it's like, man, something's happening. Then tattoo parlors going up, and then music shops, and so yeah, it is. And you know, when I lived in Stillwater, we would go to Tulsa just because of the folklore. You know, we wanted to go to Tulsa and smoke pot with Jimmy Carstein, who smoked pot with Clapton and the Beatles, and learn what he learned, and be taught what he, you know, taught the Beatles and Clapton, and hang out with J.J. Cale's people.
Yeah.
But it just didn't happen because it was dead. But now you can walk out back of Cane's, take a right, not have to worry about losing your wallet.
Yeah, the Tulsa scene back in the day, I'm a big Eric Clapton fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like the first dude I kind of fell in love with musically, and of course all his guys were all Tulsa dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that influence, of course, like the Leon Russell sound. I think all of that's kind of being brought back into light. You know,
It is.
especially through like a guy like John Fulbright. You know,
Fulbright just produced American Aquarium's
right
in Tulsa.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Yeah, they recorded. I talked with BJ the other day about the record, and of course, yeah, that was one of those destination cities for a record.
And he loves Oklahoma folks. You know,
Mm-hmm.
BJ loves Turnpike Boys and Fulbright and us, and
Right.
so that's a good thing. It's a good move for him.
Yeah, you know, one of the last podcasts I did that I've been thinking about what he said was Bruce Robinson said that he loved that like all of his favorite music is all regional if he thinks about it. Like it's either the Lubbock scene, the Tulsa sound, the Muscle Shoals, right? All these little regional pieces that are what are essentially important to whatever that music is, that area reflects through that music. What do you think about that, Oklahoma? What reflects from Oklahoma, do you think?
It's definitely Stillwater. You know, Stillwater's. It was, you know, the scene was there 20 years before we got there. You know, but before that, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bob Childers hitchhiked. He was hitchhiking from San Francisco. He'd been out riding with Garcia and partying with Hendrix, and he found that place, and the rest is history, you know. But I don't know, you know, the Tulsa scene was always the rock and roll to me, and Stillwater was always the folk. And the Great Divide, you know, brought the country. I thought Mike would be pissed at me for saying that, but it was. I mean, that was late 90s, mid 90s country music.
Mm-hmm.
It was a breath of fresh air, you know. I guess I'm missing the point of the question. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What do you think one of the things that I always wonder about is when you're in the middle of a scene, the middle of a rise, a movement, are you able to like step back and like go, oh man, this is actually something special?
Yes.
Or is it just like years later that you go,
man, we were right in the middle of it, and I knew it. I knew it. 94 is when I went to Stillwater. I got kicked out of high school. I was actually playing with the Great Divide for a little bit. In my absence from school, and not being, I wasn't a liked person by the staff. They did not like me. What they told me is I had leadership skills, but no direction. And fuck those guys, because I did. I had direction, and just wasn't their direction, you know.
right?
And I went up there and found the Divide and started playing with them, and then I got kicked out of school. And then 2 weeks before, when I was passing, but I went to Stillwater and fell in love with this scene of music. You know, I mean, it was so new, and it was so. Before then, I didn't know that you could write a song and sing it. I didn't know that's how it went. I thought that you wrote songs for other people, and that was it, or you were the singer. And I didn't know that. That's really stupid to feel to be that naive. But once I found out you can do this, it was like, shit, I'm in. This is what I'm doing forever. But it was just the first time I went to the farm was in '94, and like Skinner lived there, Tom Skinner lived there, and Childers lived there, and Medicine Show lived there. And Medicine Show was the Grateful Dead, Allman Brothers mix, and then the Red Dirt Rangers were like the Woody Guthrie band. You know, not Woody Guthrie, but if
Right.
Woody Guthrie had a band. And the Great Divide was just like, I don't know. To me, they were the next thing in country music. But I remember in the meeting Baldwin, the meeting Stoney, and just the energy that was there. I mean, just going out to the farm, you know, we'd go play our gigs 3 miles away in town, hitch a ride with somebody. Neither Baldwin or I had a car, but hitch a ride with somebody and go to the farm and stay there till, I mean, sometimes 10 in the morning, you know, and that's no, Baldwin and I were never cocaine guys or speed guys. We're always just weed. It was just pure energy and excitement. It's like, we'll stay up all night and play. You know, there's some nights we play the same song over and over and over and over just to get it right.
Yeah.
And but I remember stepping back and looking one night when it was a big party because Jimmy the Fave, God rest him, came to town. First time I met Eric, our drummer. They just came back from Europe. And it's like, holy shit, a guy from Stillwater, Oklahoma just played Europe. And like selling places out, you know, from 100 people to a couple thousand, you know. And so he's an international rock star, international folk star. And everybody was there. And there was like potluck dinners and dinners with pot and homemade wine. And just, you know, guitar makers and like hippie ladies tie-dyeing t-shirts. And it's like, holy shit, this is a homecoming for this guy. This is great. And then stepping back and looking at it, that night, I told Baldwin, I said, this is something. I don't know what it is. And he said he felt it too. And I said, I remember just the only reference I had. I was like, man, you know how that whole Seattle thing just blew up? I said, look around you. I said, there's this band and this singer and that writer and this piano player and this guitar player and this lady over here that has management skills. And like, this is that, but it's in a different spot, you know. And I'll still stand true to that. I mean, I remember looking back that night and just kind of an out-of-body experience, looking over the whole thing going, holy shit, if we play our cards right, this is going to be remembered by a lot of folks.
I think there is something to the, you said like you felt a little naive thinking like, oh, you can write songs and play around. I think there is something to, especially if you grew up in a rural area, if you grew up with just like the top 40 MTV kind of stuff, and you only saw musicians who were top 40, and you only saw people play guitar who were on that level or playing like your uncle who knew how to play guitar.
Or playing at a corner bar somewhere.
Yeah, or at church or something like that. You never really realized that there was this massive middle ground, and that really, I think, especially since the mid-'90s, especially with technology getting so much bigger and all the infrastructure here in Oklahoma and Texas being established during that time, you really do see that growth of the middle ground and understanding that you can do something and not have to be, you know, the biggest.
Don't have to sign the contract.
Right.
Yep. And then I heard around that time, about the time we started kind of kicking up some dust, I heard grassroots. Like, what's that? I was like, well, you're doing it yourself. You're getting your own fan base. Like, isn't that how it's done? I mean, don't you go out and play music, and the people that like you go back and play for them again, you know? I don't know, just naive. I remember the record label looking at us like we were just dumb kids. And we probably were. You know, we were kids. I don't know if we were dumb. But I don't know, it was just, we just all experienced it at the same time, and they looked at us like, you don't know what you're doing? No? Well, you're doing it right.
Yeah. Did you when you were first starting to in that early phase, did you think, like, since you did come from such a rock and roll garage rock background, metal background, did you always think of yourself more as like a guitar player or as a singer songwriter? What did you think of yourself as first? And
first, it was songs, it was songwriting, and because I didn't know how to play any lead, and I knew how to mimic some things, but I wasn't confident enough to. I didn't know how to make my own song. I didn't know how to make it my own song because I was playing like Pete Anderson from Dwight Yoakam. He's still one of my favorites. He was my favorite then. But I knew how to play some of that stuff, but I didn't know how to do my own thing. So I was just focusing on songs, and they weren't really good, but it was new and exciting to write about what I knew. And every songwriter that wants to be on the road writes about the road without knowing about the road. And that's the one thing I tell kids now is don't whine about the road. If you want to be on it and you've never been there, don't piss them on about it. Write about what you know, but don't talk about this road's long when you're going to school for 3 days.
Yeah.
And you do one show on the weekend. And don't piss them on about it. You piss them on about it when you've been gone for 3 weeks and you got a pregnant wife at home or something or whatever, but I was worried about just writing the tunes. And then once I started learning lead, because our drummer's dad was jamming with us, and Randy told his dad, he's like, man, he's not going to learn if you keep playing with us. And he was so heartbroken, which is now starting to happen to me with my kids. It's weird how it all circles back, and it's going to happen to them one day. But then I was just kind of thrown into the fire of learn this. So I started like woodshedding Stevie Ray stuff, and so going from Stevie Ray to Pete Anderson, and to Pete Townsend. But just learning different styles, in my brain it was country music and rock and roll. It wasn't different scales. That's just what it was to me. But once I started learning that, then it was both. Then it was, I'm going to write this song and I'm going to put this in it. I'm going to have a riff. And then I was never like just a guitar player.
Yeah.
But there's been times I've wanted to just do that. When we first started the Departed, I wanted to break. That's why I hired Seth. It's like, you sing some songs. I want to sit back. I want to relax for a minute. For once in my life, fucking smoke a joint and let you take over the first half of the show. And I want to sit back and be creative instead of worrying about the crowd. I just want to not worry for a bit. And it didn't work, which I'm very thankful for. Nothing against him. It's just that when he would sing, the crowd would leave. And he knew that. And then, which leads us right back to where we are right now, because now I'm doing it all again. Not all, but I'm writing it and singing it and playing it. So I kind of figured out where I need to be again. But I was always concerned about I always wanted to impress people with a lyric. And McClure, when he came, I met him in Stillwater early on. And I played a couple of tunes for him, and he sarcastically told me that he didn't like them, which was hurtful. I remember him sitting on a bar stool, and I was playing this song. I was so proud. It was, like I said before, it was something I didn't fucking know anything about it. It was like a wanted man Western song. I was like, how the fuck do I know anything about that? I watched one John Wayne movie, and now you're going to write a song. But he looked at me and gave me the thumbs up, and then turned his thumb down. And I was fucking devastated. But I went home and wrote a whole bunch of other songs and said, how about this, asshole?
Right.
He's like, all right, cool. Now we got something to work with. That's just how he does it, and I'm glad he did it that way, and he still does it that way. And we did this record together, the first Departed record with McClure. But I always wanted to impress. You always want to impress your mentors, I think, and that was always my thing with him. I remember playing Sick and Tired for him in Port Aransas. We were his wife and my wife. Rented a cabin on the beach down there. And I remember playing Sick and Tired for him, and he went, "Who's that?" I Is it mine? He goes, you and who? Like, it's all me, man. I was like, fuck you for asking who. So it's all me. It's about sister-in-law. He goes, dude. And that one dude is like, all right, cool. And now I've done it, and it's still that way. It's the lyrics. I want to impress folks with the lyrics first, and the guitar is second. The guitar to me is just it's not the work. The work is the making the songs work together, making the songs piece together, where there's a point, either a complaint or a brag or just a story, and then making it all work together in order. And there's an order. I think there's an order. But when it comes to the guitar part, that's always just extra fun stuff for me. That's when the record's all done and laid out, and all you need is lead, and then just crank it up in the studio and sit in front of the board and just noodle till you get it right.
Yeah.
Till you find a riff.
Yeah. Leanne Womack, she's on Sick and Tired.
Mm-hmm.
How did she get involved in that? What was the? So we got really busy in 2001, and so my wife, it was so too much for her, so we met George Strait and Leanne's manager, or not really. He's kind of like their record guy, Enzo DiVincenzo, which is a cool name. I think his name kind of sold the deal anyway. It's like we got a mob boss for yours. But he came to the studio and listened to us record the 377 record. And she said, look, I need help. It's too much, too busy. And he got us a gig with her at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Like one of the biggest shows we ever did. Like 50,000 people. And she said backstage that day, we should do something together. And it's like, well, how about tonight? You gonna do a Willie song? Like 50,000. It was 54,000. Sorry, I'm not bragging, but it's a big fucking day. Haven't had one that big since. And she goes, yeah, do it tonight? Like, I'm all about seat of the pants. Let's do it. Mm-hmm.
So she wheeled out on a damn golf cart and spotlight on her, and she got up and sang Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground with us. And it really was like the moment of, this is our girl. This is the moment. And that night we all went to the bar with her, and I said, I got a couple of tunes I wouldn't mind doing with you. And there's this one that I think I've been holding on to for the right record. Because we skipped the record with Sick and Tired. I wanted to wait. And sang it for her. She goes, I love it. So I said, okay, I'll send it to you in Nashville, and you can. She goes, no, I'll come to Texas. I'm like, right on. So she came to Texas with no help. She flew in, drove herself to the studio, picked up a 6-pack of Budweiser and some Whataburger. And I was in love. It's like, here's this superstar who, when we're with her, has help in every department with wardrobe and makeup, and this person running her to the radio station, and Enzo sitting next to her, and just her planner person. And then she's like, no, I'm coming to the studio, and sitting there and drank a 6-pack of Bud and just sit on the stool and sang it over and over and over. And then it's like, okay, well, I got another song. And it was just, I don't know, it just worked. It was born, and
right.
And every time I see her in Steamboat, she's like, I saw you got another girl singing on the record. Like, well, there's a certain nostalgia to you singing with me, and let's just wait a while. I don't want people to think I'm trying to rebrand or reinvent by going back in time.
Yeah, I remember buying that. I remember buying Soul Gravy in a Walmart in, I think it was like Odessa, because I'm from Fort Stockton, so didn't have it down in Fort Stockton. But I remember buying it like in Odessa, and I guess that was like one of my first Texas Red Dirt records, and it was one of those things where I can't remember who I was talking with the other day, but like we were talking about how the whole Napster, LimeWire, burning CDs was such a important part to the early days of Texas Red Dirt, because that's how you could get music. And I remember getting that record because I'd heard it on a burn disc from a buddy, and
That was the whole time that Metallica was bitching about it. It's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. Stop it. Stop talking about it. That was all that Napster stuff. Like, we had tons of shit. It's because I played every Tuesday night at the Wormy Dog. And the sound guy there became our sound guy for 10 years with Ragweed. Now he's a monitor guy for Randy Rogers. But he asked me one night if he could record it. I was like, I really don't care. Why? And he was like, well, there's this thing called Napster, and people will hear it. Like, because you won't get paid. It's like, I don't give a shit if I get paid.
Mm-hmm.
People send it out to people, let people hear it, and worked out for us. You know, it definitely. There's a lot of tunes that people think we did, and they weren't our songs, but it was just labeled as me and Bolin. But yeah, I don't know. That you said Soul Gravy. That was the one record that really did something for us. But if I could redo it, I'd go back and redo it, because it was McClure was. He was kind of on the downside of the Great Divide. Like, he kind of realized what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get pissed off at me all they want, but he, I think he realized, I'm tired of taking shit. I'm the singer. I'm the songwriter. I'm the guitar player. Maybe you guys should listen to what I'm saying in the band, you know. And so he was in a transitional point, you know. He wanted to quit, but he didn't want to quit because of security. And then we told him, dude, if you're not happy, then get out. I mean, you're not going to do anything but make bad records.
Right.
Which, you know, is eventually what happened to us. You know, is if you don't quit now, you're going to put out a shitty record, and people are going to leave you. So it's better to just do it now. And so, we were all partying pretty hard. Like, we would start recording at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and record till 6 in the morning. I mean, that's just way too much. But that's where Mike was. So that's where I was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, this was my point with that record. He'd said, well, instead of dragging an amp in here, let's just use this pod. Like, I don't like that. He goes, I don't care. I'm a producer. All right. So you could just tell. I could tell. He couldn't. I don't think he was focused enough on the product after it came out. But I remember a review of the record said this sounds like it's done with a Line 6 pod. I'm like, fuck, I knew it. But there's still people that love that record. I can't listen to it. I really can't. I listen to all of it. I can't listen to that fucking record because of that. There's those certain tones. It's just like, God, why? Why didn't I say something?
Yeah. Y'all did Wanna Rock and Roll on that
Mm-hmm.
by Ray Wally Hubbard. You
Yeah.
introduced it that way. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Not listening to it forever.
No,
But no, I guess, like, where did you first hear that song?
That
And
song,
like,
I heard that song at the Wormy Dog, like it was yesterday. McClure and Chuck Thompson, the owner of the Wormy Dog at the time, and this other guy, I can't remember, Brewer, David Brewer. They come walking in just like they'd been to Lukenbach, and nobody else had. So they walked in just like, fuck you, been to Lukenbach, we know what we're doing. We were there before you were, just cocky shits. And they come in, and Chuck sang the knife part, you know, the part where he kills them.
right.
So who is that? And he's like, he looked at me like I was stupid. Ray Wiley Hubbard, you don't know who that is? Redneck Mother? Like, well, I know the Redneck Mother. What's that guy? Oh. So they asked McClure, I was like, you have that record? And he gave me the record. It's like, holy shit, this is really good. This is the Redneck Mother guy. No offense to that song, but, you know, that was the only thing I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll tell everybody, too, that was the song that got everybody listening, you know. But, I don't know, it stuck with me. We never played it. We never recorded it. And then McClure brought it up. He said, you've been hanging with Ray Wiley lately. It's like, man, for some reason, he just took a liking to me, and his little boy took a liking to us, and he's been his little boy would jam with us, play blues songs, and Lucas, who's now like 24 or something like that, and he goes, why don't you do that tune? Remember that tune? He's like, shit, yeah, I remember that. Told him the same story, and so we listened to it a couple times and wrote the lyrics down, and really just organically again just did it. you know,
Right.
and I don't know. I that's one that never left. Like there's certain songs that you'll play them for a bit, then they leave, then they come back. And there's certain songs that you record. There's a song called SS10 off Garage that we never played it live. We played it at a practice one time, and Grady fucked it up so bad that was it. It's like we're never doing this again. I'm gonna fucking because I know that's gonna happen again. I don't want it to happen in front of people. But so that song never got played live. But Rock and Roll was one that was it's like we bring in a new drummer with The Departed. It's like, you know this one? Yep. Okay, go. You know this one? Nope. Okay, next. It's a cool song, man. It's still.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's still to this day. Now my boys get up and play that song with me, and it's just full circle, you know, because Lucas would get up and play with us because he liked us. You know, we were cool to him. We looked like pirates on stage, you know. And now my boy Dirks gets up and plays with Ray Wiley and Lucas, which has led to both of my kids, Willie and Dirks, getting up and playing with us, you know. And
Yeah.
it's full circle, and it happens all the time, and just don't realize it till it happens to you. You know? But that song really was. It's one of my favorites. I owe a lot to that man, and we've written a few together, and that's the one I wish we would have written together.
Yeah. He I've always loved Ray Wiley Hubbard since I heard him, but he's one of those guys who, you know, so often an artist will fall into a stagnant period.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, you know, he's older than us, he's always kind of just progressed and learned, picked up new ideas and new like just like the whole finger picking stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Key to the
learning
highway,
that,
he told me.
you know.
He said that's the key to the highway. And then I learned that I used to go to his house all the time, and he would show me all this stuff. But he used to do this thing called Roots and Branches, which is a radio show on KMBT in Braunfels. Like he did that. Man, I think he did it for like 14 years. And then one day the DJ, the owner, called me and said, "Hey, don't say anything to anybody, but we're done." Like Ray, they had an artist on that Ray didn't get along with, and he was trying to be nice on the air, and it was just killing him. And Ray said, "Mattson, I can't do it. I'm done." So Mattson's like, "Okay, we're done." So just walked away, and nobody said anything about, "Hey, where'd that show go?" But one night, this is about 8 years ago. It was right when the Departed was kicking off, and the band was splitting, and everybody talked about why the band was splitting, and I didn't. And Ray goes, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "Well, I'm gonna play my songs." "You're gonna play the same old songs?" Like, "Yeah, but I'm also gonna keep going. You know, I'm gonna keep writing songs." And he goes, "Good, because there's something called the nostalgic writer."
Right.
He said, "You're gonna play the same old shit over and over and over and over and over, and you're gonna have a fan base, but there's gonna be the people that want more, and you're not gonna do it, and they're not gonna come out anymore." Because it's like you're lazy. You found something, and you're gonna just run with it forever. And it happens all the time. And you know somebody that does it, and you know their name, and I know somebody that does it, and I know their name. But I think you just got to keep, for one thing, it keeps you from getting bored. I know those people that are nostalgic writers, performers, that they're miserable. I can see it all over their face. I can see it in their performance. I can see it in their drunkenness at the end of the night. And like, if you just keep doing stuff, inventing new songs, you know, I mean, remember how good it felt to write that certain song, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, that's a great song," and now everybody's singing it. Well, do that again. You did it once, you can do it more than once, you know. But he taught me a lot, you know, and he sought me out. You know, first time we met was Willie's Picnic, and he come up and started talking to me, and I was just about to shit my pants. And he kept saying, "We need to write." Like, cool. And then run back to the van, like, "Shannon, Ray Wiley wants to write. We'll do it." "Oh, I can't do that." And then like the third or fourth time I saw Ray, he said, "Are we ever going to write?" And I said, "Man, you intimidate the shit out of me." And he goes, "Well, you're going to have to get over that shit." And as soon as he said that, I was done. It's like, "Oh, okay, I'm over it." And then I just realized that he's just a dude.
Right.
Just like I'm a dude, you know, and it changed my perspective on a lot of those folks, you know. It's like, that guy has the same ups and downs that I do, you know, and The one guy that still gets me is Robert Earl. He's still the one that I can't just relax around.
Right.
It's the whole time I'm looking at him like, God damn.
I just did about an hour-long conversation with him the other day.
Oh, nice.
For a large Q&A. It was a lot of fun.
He's
just
great. And he's so talented, so cool, and so witty. And he came in and we did some studio work recently, and I've been trying to do something with him forever, you know. And same way with touring with him in the beginning, you know, we tried for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And finally landed the gig. And of course, me being who I am, I thought, well, he doesn't like me. How come he didn't do this? And I said, how come we didn't get the gigs for so long? He's like, man, I'm busy.
Right.
Yeah. The same way with this. It's like, you know, I kept wondering why. And then we sat down, and he's like, man, I've just been running left and right. But just, I had one cool night up in Milwaukee with him where I could finally relax. But I think that's good for anybody. I think that's, if you're a fan of somebody and you have the fire to write and sing because of that one person, I think it's good. I think it's good to be around that person. That person kind of spooks you still. Even though they like you and they're your friend, they still spook you, you know. I think that's good for you. Because if not, I mean, if you don't have a hero, then what the hell are you going to do?
Right.
You know, I mean, who are you going to impress?
Yeah. Is that Dalton Domino for you?
Yep.
Coming up?
Yep. And that was weird. That was really weird to have those roles reversed.
Yeah.
You know, and now, you know, my wife manages Dalton, and we talk all the time and do stuff together. I think he's funny as shit. I think he's really talented, and he asked for advice, and I've told him before I'm not probably the best person to take advice from. But then one day my wife said, Dalton Domino and Dalton Domino in 2017 is you in 2002. Fuck everybody. I'm doing this my way. I was like, good. That's the way you should do it. You
Right.
know? And then when she said that, you know, because, you know, he got in trouble over the smoking thing.
Yeah.
And this how he handled it was just something that I would have done. I'll probably still do it that way, too. But I don't know. He's a good kid. And he gets pissed when I say that. Kid, but he's a kid.
Right.
To me, he's a kid. And it's just good to... makes me feel good. Makes me feel like I did something, you know?
Yeah, he, of course, started up here.
Mm-hmm.
First time I met him, he wanted to do a podcast. Like, he wanted to be a podcast runner. And, like, the next time I saw him, he was in the songwriter competition and been going out to Monday nights at Blue Light. And it's like, oh, why didn't you ever mention this part of it, too? And I don't know. Of course, I don't know. I think he's got a lot of that piss and vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and of course, like that last record of his, I thought was such a, not necessarily a drastic turn, but a sharp turn into a maturing sound,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and just wait, you know, for the next one.
Yeah.
You know, imagine what that one's going to be like.
Yeah. He feels like he's still in that, where he's just writing songs and writing songs and
He
writing
writes a lot of
songs.
them,
And
too.
yeah, I know that whole riding that train. It's all that when he rides the train from like Austin to
Fort Worth?
yeah, something like that. I guess is it really a train? I guess it's like an Amtrak. I don't
It's
know.
Amtrak, yeah.
He gets a lot of work done there. I think like that's a sometimes when you're told you're good for a long time, then you just kind of rest on those morals instead of just trying to figure it out.
Man, there ain't nothing in the world, in my opinion, to have that feeling of, damn, that was good. You know, like but you're not going to say it to anybody, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you need to keep doing that because my wife always told me that when you're confident talking about me, because I'd come home and just like, God damn, this sucked. This show sucked, and my voice is shit, and I couldn't stand comfortably on stage. And she said, well, when you're uncomfortable, your show's shit. She goes, it's always been that way. She goes, but when you feel like this is my place, this is my room, this is our stage, she goes, that's when you do your best. She goes, if you do that, and it's like, holy shit, you're right. And that was 17 years into our marriage. You know, her like, really? She's like, it's always been that way. Did you not know that? I'm like, no, you gotta tell. I don't know that. This is all about me. You know, you gotta tell me this shit. I don't think that way. And so she tells Dalton that. You know, like, be confident, surprise yourself. You know, and when you do write that one song, you just want to like get on the phone and call people or put it on social media. It's like, I just wrote the best fucking song ever.
Right.
But you can't do that. You can't do that. But in your brain, you're like, well, to me, that's the song that I play the most. Like, oh, that's a new one. And then it gets to the point where you're almost kind of tired of it. You play it so many times, and the record's like 3 months out. But that's just the confidence in that, in yourself and in that tune, you know. And Dalton's got it. And he also has the other side, which everybody does. You know, I've watched a lot of, talk about the heroes, you know, I've watched certain people that I look up to have those nights. Like, man, is he going to be okay? Looking at him on stage, like, shit, is he all right?
Right.
And the other nights is like, wow, he really climbed up to that rafter tonight, you know, and jumped off.
Yeah, he, I don't know. I feel like Dalton goes through a lot of those highs and lows, you know, and because we talk all the time too, and there's been times where he's like, this is it, and I'm like, I know this is not it. You're not going to just put out one more record and be done. And you know, a couple weeks later, he's back on a high moment of finishing a song or having a run of good shows or whatever. Like, as far as the scene overall, though, what do you think it's in good hands? Do you think it's a healthy, vigorous
I think it's getting
scene right
better.
now?
I mean, I don't want to talk shit about anybody, but not on here. Kidding. But I don't know. I think for a bit it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hanging out with Justin Pollard, Pat Green's drummer. Like, this is like 12 years ago, you know, and then Pat was starting to come down a bit, you know, and other people were coming up. It's probably us and Randy. And he's like, all the Texas music scene's going to shit. I'm like, what? I'm having a good time right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, you'll experience it. And then a very drunken night one night with Randy Rogers, you know, and he'd said the same thing. He's like, Mike, it's going down. It's like, man, you're going to have to take the lows. I mean, you know, once you fucking hop on my bus, once you go to Richmond, Virginia with me and Bolin on a Sunday night and have 16 people for 2 bands.
Yeah.
You know, take that in your fucking pride. Either you enjoy it and take pride and you have 16 people 800 miles away, or you piss them on about it and go back and play somewhere where you know you have 4,000, you know. And we got there, you know, and then I looked around and it's all personal opinion, I think, but I looked around at certain things that were going on. I was like, I don't like that. That sucks. That's just somebody doing that somebody else did, but they're not doing it as good. It's a copy of a copy,
Right.
you know, and I didn't dig it. And I was vocal about it, and that's not very nice. And there were people vocal about what I was doing, you know, but now there's just a louder soapbox with social media. But I'd never do that. I've never done that, never will. Because it's my opinion. Who am I to say? But I think it's getting better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think that to go back to the Oklahoma thing, I think there's the crop of songwriters that's coming out of Stillwater, the crop of people that are coming out of Tulsa, from Fulbright to Moreland, and the people that are going to Oklahoma. BJ and the boys are going to Oklahoma to record. I know I'm just talking about Okies right now, but and there's folks like John Bauman. You know, I think he's a killer songwriter. I remember being here at this place in Lubbock and getting in the runner's truck, and hearing a song, going, "Who in the shit? Oh, it's John Bauman," you know.
Right.
And then I did post that on social media and said, I don't know who this guy is, but he's great. And then his manager sent me his number, introduced us to a text, and he's like, cool, man, thanks for digging me. I was like, man, that's awesome to hear something so fresh and nice. And I think that there was about 6 or 7 years where I could have gave two shits. I mean, it was just the same old thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just somebody trying to be Pat Green or somebody trying to be this guy, somebody trying to be this guy. And then, like, the only person that I was looking at was Turnpike, going, God, I'm so proud of you guys. And I still am. It's like, you're not doing something to make a buck.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating art, and you're woodshedding this. You know, you're actually sitting down and going over these songs, and Evan's writing these songs and looking back and going over it and manicuring that song, you know, and not getting in there's so many people so many people that get in a hurry, and I've done it, you know, and you just get in a hurry, and then like that song, like one line has too many words in it, and it sounds like it, you know, or that you could take that one word and pull it out and put something a little shorter in there, and it actually is a little more poetic. But for a while there, it's just like everybody was doing a record, you know. Not like I said, once again, who am I to say? But it's like the integrity of our scene was starting to. I remember going to Nashville and people like, "Oh yeah, how's that going?" Like, man, fuck you. We're still going strong, but there wasn't enough product coming out for them to. Because once upon a time, you know, those like Dierks Bentley, a great friend of mine. You know, and I named my kid Dierks after him, you know, because we had a hell of a time, and we still keep in contact, but we don't run in the same circle.
Mm-hmm.
Because he does the Nashville thing to the highest, and I run from it, and we always have been that way. But we were on the same level for a bit, and he was coming out here, and you know his people were saying, "Hey, go out with Ragweed, and let's get their crowd," and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took us out with him, and there's a lot of folks that we took from the Nashville sound, like the Nashville, like top 40 listeners, and we brought them over. And now they might still listen to Dierks, but they left everybody else in the dust.
Right.
You know, they're listening to us and going to Idaho to Reckless's thing, but there was a spot there, in my opinion, where it sucked, and I was worried, and it was, I don't know. But now I think we're all right. I think it's getting better.
Yeah.
But personally, you know, I'm the last year and a half I went through a revelation of, you know, just liking myself again. I never hated myself, but just like enjoying the music and writing new music and not worrying about that shit. And that got me down, you know, was to turn on the radio and it's like, what is this? Oh, that's the biggest thing right now going in Texas music. Fuck. Well, I'm working too hard, you know, and just, I don't know, just turning off the radio.
No, I hear you.
Just turning it off and just looking inward, and I don't know.
I think there for a moment what was happening was everyone had gotten to be where, I guess at the very beginning, you know, you reach out to these people and you become friends. But you become friends in a way where, like you were saying with McClure, him just being like thumbs down and being honest with you, and being on where you're friends on that level where you can be honest. You can be honest with a lot of those guys in those early days. But then the scene kind of blew up so quickly that, for starters, there is that watered down aspect, but also there's the aspect of where you're not best buddies with everybody. You're just casual friends with everyone, and it kind of bred let's not piss off anyone. Let's be, in a lot of ways, turned into like a good old boy system, right?
Yeah.
With just like patting everyone on the back versus saying, or having, I guess, like those relationships where you could be brutally honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And taking the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And I think now, though, like there's it's starting to get back where, and of course everyone hates criticism. I mean, everyone does. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I think there are some people who now are able to have like that thick skin of realizing, you know, some criticism's good, and also just like, you know, not wanting to be the next Randy Rogers, not wanting to be the next Cross Canadian Ragweed, not wanting to be the next Pat Green. It's cool to have your own
Yeah, be
style,
yourself.
you know. So, I think that's
I think it's good. It like I said, it looks like we're headed in a good direction. You know, I know that when there was this one dude that played Larry Joe's thing every year. I played like this is gonna make me sound really old. I played with the Great Divide at Larry Joe's 6th annual. And I was 16 years old. But I've been going every year since. I mean, I went as a fan for 5 years, and then as a band, and followed Bolin up there and watched him, and we played the campfires, and next thing you know, we're headlining the gig, but when we first started playing there, I watched this guy singing a song about Border Patrol. So I'm thinking, oh, Border Patrol. And then I got to listen closer. I was like, this guy's talking about us. He was talking about there should be a guard at the Oklahoma border to keep the musicians out. I was like, man, fuck you, dude.
right.
I mean, that's rude as shit. I feel like we're doing, once again, it's his opinion, but it's like, I feel like we're doing okay. But, I'm sure we were disliked by a lot of folks and then liked by folks. And now it's our turn to say, well, this is not the way I would do it. And I tell people that, if somebody asks me, it's like, I wouldn't do it that way. But that's just me, and
Right.
and then there's other friends like Dalton that I could say, don't do that. That's not how you should do it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the transition of the bands. Roger Klein from Peacemakers. And he called me and goes, which he never, we have each other's numbers like once a year, a text or a phone call. He said, hey, brother, how you doing? I said, good. Heard you got a new band. 2 months after the band broke up, huh? Like, yeah, why? It's pretty soon. It's like getting a divorce. Marrying the first chick you see. It's like, hey, man, I know what I'm doing. He's like, you think you do. And he's like, well, don't be jaded. And I was mad. I was like, man, don't tell me what to do, Roger. And then, like 4 years later, I played a gig with him. I walked up to him. It's like, dude, you're so fucking right. I said, I pissed so many fans off by not playing certain songs. And then went for a year there without playing any of my old songs. Like none. Not even acoustic shows. And he's like, well, I kind of figured you're hard-headed and you wouldn't listen. Like, I didn't, and I'm sorry. It's all right. Luckily, I didn't do it long enough that I kind of saved ground, But I don't know. Hopefully there's a lot of really cool things happening, I think. And I also, we were talking about the technology like earlier, that I think now it's easier to find.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you can turn on a local station, whether you're in Oklahoma or Texas, and Texas is better with playing local artists. There's certain stations in Oklahoma, but you can't drive to western Oklahoma and turn on a radio and hear somebody you've never heard in your life. Out here, I think you can do that. Or New Braunfels, you can do that. But now, I mean, if B.J. Barham says this guy's badass, and he's from Washington State,
right,
then there you go.
Yeah.
And once upon a time, it'd take you forever here. That you'd have to run across that guy on the road. But I think there's hope. I think we're going to be all right. I call Evan Felker our Luke Skywalker of Oklahoma.
Yeah, I saw the video.
I didn't even know I said that night. I've been saying it forever, but
yeah,
I didn't. I'd had a little too many that night. Didn't know I said it, but I think there's hope. I think everybody's paying attention to what they're doing. On my side of the river, there is.
Yeah. Like the last couple of years, I think that Oklahoma's been leading the charge, really.
I think they have. And there's certain Texas artists that get their asses hurt hearing that, but that's how it is,
mm-hmm.
And there was a while there that there was nobody in Oklahoma doing shit.
Right.
But we all share this scene. I hopefully that doesn't make anybody mad, but we share this scene. This is, they called it Texas Red Dirt scene for a reason.
Yeah.
It's because we share it.
I think there's also an aspect of like the Oklahoma guys, since Oklahoma's population is so small that you guys aren't turning your noses to like the Americana guys, like the Morelands and the Parker Millsaps, and like the guys that are not your typical Texas country red dirt, but that are from Oklahoma and are doing a version of it, in their own way. I think that's an aspect of why you guys are leading the charge. Have a good foundation.
And that's where I'd like to be, and that's where I've always wanted to be, was that Americana.
Right.
And and we are to a certain point. We're not high on the Americana totem pole. But I'd like, with our next record, that's what I told our new publicist. I said, man, I want to do the things these guys are doing. I think that this record's good enough for us to play this show.
Yeah. When do you think it's going to be coming out?
It's supposed to come out April 20th. That was too soon. I lost my voice for a bit. That hindered everything. And then I wanted to do May 25th, which is my birthday. And the publicist said, man, if you want, he goes, I want to get you guys on like late night television, which we never did. I've tried forever. And I think right about the time we were about to do it, Ragweed split. And he said, if we do this right, it's going to be late June. I said, man, it could be late June of next year if you think it's the right thing.
Yeah.
So right now we're looking at June-ish. So hopefully that's when it happens.
Awesome.
But I'd like to be in that area, I mean, there was a time we did one show in Kentucky a long time ago. It was Paul Thorne, Jason Isbell, Chris Knight, and us. It was like one of the best nights of my life, and in the grand scheme of things, looking over the top of it, I didn't think that we really deserved to be there. But stepping back from it, 10 years later, I think, we did. Yeah, we should have been there.
Right.
I want to be there again. I did the Luck reunion. Been wanting to do it for years, and I didn't get an invite. I had my ass hurt for years about it. And then I called Ray Wiley and said, "Hey, how do I get in on this?" He goes, "You're in." What? So all I got to do is ask.
Yeah, I went last year.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's. Well, my favorite part of that is, going to South by. It's fun, but then at some point, it got too crowded, too big, and at Luck, they only let in a certain amount, so you got elbow room, and you can watch shows comfortably, and you don't have to be worried about walking across downtown Austin, fighting a crowd, and trying to drive around. You got elbow room out there.
I did the Coke FM thing for years on 6th Street, and I hated it every year. But Eric Raines at Coke's a good buddy of mine, and he'd ask every year. And like 3 years ago, I said, "Dude, I can't come back next year." He's like, "I don't blame you." And he called and said, "Hey," it's like, "Yes, I'll come." And the next year, he said, "I know you don't want to." I was like, "Man, you've been taking care of me for a lot of years. I'll do it." I said, "But one year, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not coming. I'm not."
Right.
And then it was last year. Wade and I went together, and somebody hit my truck. I was so pissed. It's like, I don't want to be here. I'm here for Eric. There's so many people. It's so loud that you can't hear yourself play. And I had these new songs, and all everybody wanted to hear was Boys from Oklahoma. It's like, I'm not playing that song acoustic. It's a 10-minute song. It's a fun song at the end of that when everybody's drunk, and I know you're all drunk right now, but it's fucking boring to me.
Yeah.
It has its moment in the night.
Yeah.
And it's not that right now. I didn't drive from New Braunfels and try to park for 2 hours to play Boys from Oklahoma and get the fuck out of here. That's not why I did it. And somebody hit my truck, fucked it up, hit and run, and I called Eric and said, "I absolutely, positively am not coming back." He goes, "Okay." And then I saw him in Steamboat. I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm sticking with it." He said, "Okay, man," and he was really cool with it. And then I got the Luck thing, and it was that stretching out, like just like, oh wow, part backstage, part my truck backstage,
right.
And the kids are like, "Can we go over here and do this?" Like, no, I'm that parent. No, there's too many people here. And Shannon goes, "I think we're okay. Kids are smart enough, and there's folks that know the kids, and it's not dangerous. They're fine."
Yeah.
So we did. Just let them go, and her and I sit talk to Paul Thorne for an hour, and the kids like we didn't know where they were. Give them a phone, like
Yeah. Where did you play at in
I
there?
played the church.
See,
with
that's
Bray.
it's a great little room there.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I last year I went with Brad Shahan, and he played in that little church, and I think probably one of my most memorable shows I've seen in recent years was Andrew Combs playing in there, because his sound is so velvety, so rich, and that's a place right there. They even have they have a small capacity in that little area, in that room, but it was just so magical. It's just a incredible little spot moment.
That's another thing, though. It was Ray. It was all Ray. I mean, I owe him. And I got to play with Kelly Willis, which is really cool. I've known her forever. And I mean, I've been a fan of her since I was a kid. She did like some radio work in Oklahoma. I know the age difference isn't that big, but I just remember hearing her on commercials in Oklahoma and then getting to know Bruce really well, but not really Kelly. And then she said, before we walked in, she goes, "Hey, would you mind playing lead for me on my songs?" Like, well, yeah, of course. And I played and walked away from it, didn't say anything to her. And I told my wife, I said, I've known her for a long time, and I didn't think she even knew anything about me. And I said, I kind of feel like this was, I don't know, if it's a good year. I kind of feel like people are actually, sorry, me, sorry. But I feel like people are, I don't know, I just feel like being noticed and appreciated by the ones that I want to be
Right.
noticed and appreciated by. And there was a dude going back to the what's the state of our music right now, and there was a dude. I mean, obviously not going to say any names, but we were up in Boston at a benefit show, a whole bunch of us, and this dude come walking towards me and like, shit, this guy's gonna punch me in the face. I can tell he's mad. And he walked up and he goes, "Hey, I got kids." I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, I know you don't appreciate what I do." I was like, "I don't." And he goes, "Well, I'm not trying to be fucking Bruce Springsteen, man. I just want to sing my songs and feed my kids." Like, cool. And then now we're cool, I was like, thanks. Well, I'm glad we got that cleared up,
You're right.
But I felt like a dick because, like, well, obviously I said something somewhere where this guy heard it, and here he comes. But I don't know. It's just there's that moment for me with her. He walked up and said, "Look, this is who I am. I'm not trying to be this person." Cool? Yes, cool. And I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
No.
My weed's wearing off.
That's that's one of those things, like, part of anything is, you got a family. You got a. I guess like what I'll say is that the more I've been doing this, the more I understand that it's very easy, or it's not easy, but it's very understandable to do a certain thing because you got family and you got bills and you got a entire team behind you that you're helping pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's very understandable.
Get other families to feed.
It's a
and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's another thing, going to family. Like there was a couple years ago, the kids would ask something, and I'd tell them, they got pictures all over the house, and there's a big crowd, and this and that, and Dirk's going, I kind of remember that, and Willie not knowing anything. And that was the thing. It's like, man, I need to do something different. I need to, whatever that was that I was doing, I need to do it again because I want my kids to feel that. I mean, my kids want to be rock and rollers.
Yeah.
And what they know that what I've done is from fans, and they didn't live in the moment that I lived in, that their mom and I lived in, and I want them to do that. And that's where with this record we hired this publicist that like, dude, I need a giant microphone. I need people to. I'm so proud of this record that I'm like pushing all my fucking chips on the table right in your direction.
Yeah.
So let's do something. I want my kids to see this, and I don't know, I just want to do it again, you know, and because there was a few years there, like with the beginning of this band, it just wasn't, it didn't feel right. We were doing it. We did one record at Adventus, and it was okay in my book. It was a little too busy, honestly, musically. It wasn't straightforward enough for me. It was too many parts. It's like it just needs to be riff, lyrics, verse, rock, out. You know, we don't need little segues or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like we're finally on. I don't know. I feel like I'm finally on the right
Path.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Hopefully.
I mean, it's been great talking with you.
Yes,
We've
sir,
been
you
talking
too.
for almost an hour and a half now.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So. If
I
you're-
appreciate it, man.
Well, thank you so much.
Hope I said the right things.
No. Yeah. Nothing wrong.
Or not the wrong thing.
Thank you so much for